30 days, 14 hours, 55 minutes to the start of the Olympic ceremony at the 2018 Winter Olympics in Pyeongchang, South Korea. Bob Trosset joining you from the podcast studios here at NBC Sports Washington. And today I'm joined by a special guest, Elana Meyers-Taylor of the 2018 Team USA bobsledding. Elana, thanks for joining us.
Well, thanks for having me.
You have a Washington area background, as we chatted before, and just wanted to kind of start it off with, what does this area mean to you, the DMV?
Well, the DMV has been such a huge support of me over the past 11 years now, 11 years of bobsledding. So it's been great to have their support. But also, I played at George Washington. I played softball there for 5 years. So having the support of the community since 2002 when I started there, it's been an amazing experience.
And that, it's funny that you ended up going on to play, obviously, as you just mentioned, softball at GW. I had a chance to speak to one of your high school coaches in softball, and he goes by the name of Coach Kelly. He was beaming to talk about you, and what he said was, and I want you to confirm this for me. He said that you could have played baseball if you wanted to. Is this true?
Yes, actually. I was going to try and play baseball one year, play against the guys and see what I could do, but unfortunately I ended up getting injured. And it sounded like a really cool opportunity. I was gung-ho about it, but, there were other plans.
How did softball and or baseball sort of play a factor in your training, if at all, for bobsledding?
Oh, huge. It doesn't seem like the two correlate very well. But believe it or not, my role as a pilot now, I rely a lot on reaction time and being able to steady myself and calm myself in very high-pressure situations. As you can imagine, driving down a 90 mile per hour or driving down a run at 90 miles per hour on ice, it takes a lot of really strong focus, and we have to do a lot of little fine movements and deal with pressure and things like that. I liken it to actually standing in the batter's box and staring down a pitcher who's throwing, in baseball 95 miles per hour and softball 70 miles per hour at you. You have to be able to make adjustments and adapt, and it's the same as like going down a bobsled run, which is it's kind of weird, and it's not something that people talk about a lot because there's not a lot of people who have my background who get into bobsled.
And what was it about the sport that attracted you?
Well, I always believed that I could be an Olympian. I thought it would be in the sport of softball, but when that didn't work out, I was determined to find a new sport. So my parents actually saw bobsled on TV and recommended I try it. And the reason why is because in softball, I was a slapper, a power hitter as well. I'm strong and fast, and I'm one of the bigger girls. So they saw those skills, and they saw bobsled, and they saw that they looked for those types of athletes and thought I could be a really good fit for it.
And the rest is history.
The rest is history.
All right, so let's get into some of your experiences in competition. You have plenty of world championships under your belt, and obviously you're a two-time Olympic medalist, one in Sochi and one in Vancouver. What is it about the competition aspect that keeps you chugging away? You're 33 years old. Do you have a lot left in the tank?
I sure hope so. I love competing, and more importantly, I love competing for our country. That's one of the greatest honors I could ever think of is being able to wear USA across your chest or on your back, whichever one it is. But just being able to have the opportunity to do it, it's just so amazing. And being at that starting line, at Olympic starting line, and hearing everyone in the crowd screaming your name or screaming USA, it is the most exhilarating and amazing feeling. And unfortunately, even though we have world championships, we have World Cups every year, there's something special about being at that Olympic starting line, and you can only get it once every 4 years. So that's what keeps me going. And, hopefully I've got another 4 in me. I don't know. But right now I'm focused on this one and going to do the best I can.
How do you keep your emotions in check as an Olympian? Obviously, there is so much lead up to what they call the pinnacle of sport. How do you keep those in check?
I think the biggest way to keep your emotion in check is recognizing that it's in a different sporting event than any other in the world. And it's exciting, and I really like to use that excitement to fuel me. I don't look at it as a bad thing that I'm nervous or that I'm anxious about a competition. I really try and use it to fuel me, to give me that energy, and just go out there and enjoy the entire experience.
I'm really interested in your answer to this one. Do you feel that you have a sour taste in your mouth since the runner-up finish in Sochi?
I definitely feel like there's a little bit of sourness in my mouth when you come so close to winning a gold medal, a tenth of a second. A tenth of a second. I can't even time that on a stopwatch. So to be that close to a gold medal, you can't help but be a little sour about it. But at the end of the day, that experience made me the pilot I am today. And since then, I've been lucky enough to win 2 world championships and had a lot of success. But I wouldn't have had that success if I didn't go through what I went through at Sochi. And, it wasn't so much the silver medal. Winning a medal at the Olympics is an incredible honor. It was the performance. I made mistakes that cost me a gold medal, and that's what I was really disappointed about. At the end of the day, you win any color medal at the Olympics, it's an amazing accomplishment.
And obviously one of your competitors who ended up beating you by that tenth of a second, you're pretty familiar with her, Kaylee Humphreys and her team. Do you guys still share the off-season training partner and strength starting coach?
Yes. So we train with Stu McMillan, who I think is one of the best bobsled coaches in the world, and he trains both of us. We have a really good relationship. She was at my wedding, and she's a really good friend of mine. It's the same with I have a really good teammate, Jamie Grubel-Poser, who is a bronze medalist in Sochi, and we're all very competitive. But at the end of the day, I don't want to beat them because they messed up. I want to beat them at their best, and I want to be at my best to take them down, basically. So for me, it's a good competition that keeps me moving forward and keeps me advancing in my sport.
So would you say since 2014 in Sochi, you two have sort of fed off each other in the off-season work and with the coach?
Oh, definitely. I see what she's got on the squat rack, and I'll add a couple more kilos just to pump me up a little bit more. And it's that constant battle. I think I've got her a little bit on the athleticism side of things at the moment, but she's really got me on the driving side as far as experience. She's been driving much longer than I have, so she keeps me honest on the driving side. I keep her honest on the athleticism side.
While we're on the training component, this is actually pretty interesting to me. What is your sort of training routine look like since 2014? What does a bobsledder do to her body to get ready?
A lot. So for bobsled, because our sled's around 400 pounds, we push for about 5 seconds and then hop in the sled. But we need to push it as fast as we can because that's the only time you can actually accelerate the sled. And any time you have at the first 50 meters is going to help you get down the run faster. So we train like Olympic sprinters and Olympic weightlifters at the same time. So lifting heavy weights and also sprinting very short distances, like 30 to 60 meters as fast as we can, over and over again. And we do that day in and day out for the entire year. We get the month of April off, so that's pretty nice. But other than that, we're either doing those dry land sessions or actually from October to April, we're on the ice competing and actually driving our sleds.
Before I get into the whole sort of idea that you've been very outspoken about concussions, how is your health? I know you suffered one in 2015. How is your health right now?
My health is really good right now. I've been fortunate enough to been surrounded with some really great people like NeuroLife Institute to help me recover from my concussions, and we've got great medical staff with the U.S. Olympic Committee, and I've also been working with some other people down at Altus where I train during the summers that have really gotten me back and ready to go. So I feel like I'm in the best shape of my life.
And one of those groups that it looks like you've done some work with is the Concussion Legacy Foundation. What do you describe your relationship with them like, and why do you value that opportunity?
So the Concussion Legacy Foundation has really done a lot for concussion research and to promote concussion awareness. And the reason I value the opportunity so much is because I suffered a concussion and it radically changed my life, and it changed the way I view concussions, and it even altered who I was as a person for a time being. I wasn't myself and didn't even realize that. So the more and more we can get the awareness about concussions out there, the more we can understand concussions and what actually happens, hopefully we'll be able to better diagnose and treat concussions.
I'm glad you're back to 100%. All right. How about this whole talk of one day being a CEO? This is really interesting to me. I read a few pieces about how you've expressed interest in potentially getting involved with the USOC, of course, the United States Olympic Committee, after your career is said and done. one thing that really resonated me with what Coach Kelly told me about you is that you haven't changed since high school, and you've always isn't that funny? I don't know if that's a good or bad thing, Elana, but he did say that, and he did say that you've strived, you've been a very motivated person. Why the CEO aspect?
I've gotten so much out of sport. It's changed my life radically. I've played organized sports since the age of 9, and I met my husband through bobsled, and most of my friends are athletes and things like that. So it's drastically altered the course of my life, and I want to be able to help other people have the same positive experience that I have, and I feel like the best way to do that is to influence sport from the CEO position. I also naturally accept leadership positions. At GW, I was a freshman team captain, which is pretty rare. So just being willing to go out there and accept leadership position, what better way to influence global sport than being a CEO of the U.S. Olympic Committee?
Do you still have a pretty good relationship with GW?
Yes, I still try to go back when I can. Unfortunately, that's not often these days, but I still talk to the softball coach and, their athletic director, Patrick Nero. I've been in communications with him quite a bit. I know he's no longer at the university, but also the university sends a group of students to every Olympics, and I've met them at the past 2 Olympics, so I look forward to meeting them again in Pyeongchang.
All right, we're all dying to know here in Bethesda, where do your roots lie for professional sporting as far as a fan is concerned?
See, that's a little bit more difficult because my father played for the Atlanta Falcons, so I'm partial Falcons fan as far as football goes. But, I had the opportunity at going to GW to go to Nationals games, and just going to the stadium and being there is such an exciting experience. And those are some of my fondest memories, are going to Nationals games. But of course, I'm a baseball fan too. So,
did you ever make your way inside the arena for the Caps or Wizards?
I've made, actually, believe it or not, one of the things we used to do to fundraise was to work concessions or whatnot at the arena. So I've done that a couple of times. Also worked concessions at University of Maryland games and at GW games, believe it or not, and security and stuff like that. So I've been around all the arenas. It's been a little while since I've done that, but hopefully I'll make it back up to DC area shortly after the games. Actually, I think we're the whole team's coming to the DC area in January for a fundraiser.
Oh, that's awesome. You got to let us know. Maybe we'll have you in.
Yeah, that'd be great.
All right, my last question, Elana, we'll get you out of here. I know you're on that 6-hour time difference in Switzerland. For Olympians, for yourself included, is there the sense and I guess the motivation that this could be the last time that you put on the red, white, and blue to represent your country at the highest of levels?
I mean, every time you go to the Olympics, there's that awareness that it could be your last. Every time you suit up for the U.S., there's awareness in the back of your mind that you never know when it's over, especially with my history of concussions and the dangers of my sport. We're always only inches away from crashing and inches away from something serious happening. So I recognize that at the end of the day, it could be my last time, but I tend to put that in the back of my mind and focus on what I have to do. When my time has come to be done with Olympic sport, hopefully I'll be able to choose when that is. But unfortunately, a lot of athletes don't get to choose. So I'm going to just enjoy every single moment I have and let the rest take care of itself.
Elana Meyers-Taylor, GW graduate right here in D.C., and now going for another Olympics in 2018, this time in South Korea. Elana, thank you so much for your time. We're all pulling for you up here in D.C.
Oh, thank you so much.
And 3,